Good Sunday morning to everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is up? This is your host D, and we had to stop in and get a pre-show done before all the festivities at 1 o'clock. I said I wanted to drop in and show my face and talk a little bit. Light show, nothing serious, guys. Just wanted to get in and talk with the football crazies like myself. If you're up this morning, tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, subscribe, and share what we got going on. And we're going to touch on a couple things. Had to take a day off. The other day was going to do a live, actually, Friday. But I said, what I'll do is I'll pop up on Sunday, uh, come up around this time. And as you guys, as the community, you guys, please help me. Let me know what times you guys want lives? Do you want some type of Sunday pre-show? This was more random than well, I'm not gonna say random. I planned it out, but you guys aren't used to the schedule. Hell, I'm not used to the schedule. We are all we all learning this whole thing together. And you guys have any suggestions on how you would like to see the shows go? Because we will be adding a whole lot of new things to the show. Um, and it's going to be getting more entertaining by the day. So we're just trying to still feel our way through. This is still like I don't know what's this the fourth, fifth time I've been on now. So trying to create it where this is a regular show, and I want you guys' opinions. So you got opinions on the show, by all means. Uh, Always shoot it in the comment section. You can shoot it in the live. Uh, Things is getting more organized as I'm starting to learn this thing. So we got a lot of stuff coming up for real. We have a lot of stuff coming up. So like I said, if you got a whole bunch of football crazies around you like myself, share it with them. Let them know this is what we doing. This is gonna be a really dope community to be around, and just a kick back, relax, chill type of situation where you get your points across. Even the phone lines will be open soon, so we working on some things. We are working on some things going into 2026, and just stay tuned. So we had to get in today. Just talk about a couple things. Of course, we had the Sharon Morris situation. We're not gonna go too crazy into all of that other stuff. Just you know, prayers up to his family and him and whoever else that situation. They hopefully everybody figure out who they are and what they are in that situation, and peace come because it's kids and all those things involved. But I will say in that situation, football wise, you had a lot of student athletes just um, join that program literally a week ago, just signed on the dotted line to be a Michigan Wolverine, and now they don't have the coach that they were signed up for. Now I don't know exactly how everything works, but um, I do believe that they kind of knew what was going on with that situation, and they got a lot of those young men to still sign up, even though they knew that this situation was in the background going on. So a lot of these guys are signed on the dotted line, and I don't know if they can move this year. You sign up to play for one head coach, and he's gone. Who's the new head coach? Uh, Michigan, what 9-3 this year? They had a great season. This is one of the top programs in college football history. You know, you got all those things going on. So they're in a situation where they're going to have to figure out who they're bringing in, and you lost all the chances of all the coaches. You lost Lane Kiffin at LSU. I guarantee you, if Lane Kiffin had to probably choose between LSU, albeit we may be weather, but LSU and Michigan, he probably would have took that Michigan job. I mean, that is a desirable job. So when you look at the situation, it's just not a good situation for Michigan athletics. Even when Jim Harbaugh left, he left with kind of a rain cloud over his head. That's what kind of forced him into the NFL because he's going to have a whole bunch of suspensions and you know all those type of things. So Michigan program has, despite them being really, really good and, getting that national championship over the last few years, uh, they've been in a lot of controversy. And I wonder how far this sets them back because, for the most part, Sharon Moore was building a good program up there. Um, he, amidst all of the crazy, he's building a pretty good program. He got Bryce Underwood up there. Uh, Now, what does your quarterback that you paid $12 million to? What does he think about the situation? Is he ready to pack up and leave? Because I know they were supposed to be bringing in a quarterbacks coach for him, and he was a true freshman. So, does he end up looking at another situation? I think he was looking at before he went to Michigan, he was looking at Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And he got wooed. He got wooed into a couple situations, and he ended up in Michigan. But like I said, now that his coach isn't there, what do what do you do with that situation? And just trying to make sure my feed is good, people. Let me know we all good here in this feed. Let's see. Let me know we all good here in this feed. And we are. Cool. Yeah, so Michigan's in a tough spot. Like they really are. I would like to look up and see who they have as candidates to even come in. I know they're looking at Kalen DeBeer, but I mean Alabama's just as powerful as Michigan, so he's not going to lead that situation. I'm guessing unless he has some type of real ties to the Michigan program. Let's let's take a look and see what Michigan candidates look like right now. So we got so actually they reached out to Arizona State's coach, Kenny Dillingham, and he says he's staying put. So woo, because when you're dealing with a situation like Michigan, you kind of want to get a coach that's really got some pedigree. You know, Sharon Moore being in Michigan, he's pretty much handed the job by Jim Harbaugh. So he was the de facto leader after Jim Harbaugh left. Jim Harbaugh put that in place for him. So uh, that situation was there. I would have said a Marcus Freeman could look at that job, but he is of course, a Ohio State alum. I don't know how that fits in his crawl. Will he take a job against the enemy in his eyes, uh, or is the NFL calling his name? I think we did I think on one of them lives we already kind of talked about him. His name is circulating all through the NFL ranks right now. He is like the next hot coach uh, the next leader. And of course, we talked about the situation with Notre Dame, how they got froze out of the playoffs. So, um, is he looking to make a lateral movement, even though it's not a lateral movement? He would be guaranteed a playoff spot if he went somewhere like a Michigan or any type of Power Five school versus Notre Dame. Or is he looking to make that next jump up to the top to the NFL? That's a question that's going to have to be answered. So uh, I have up right now uh, the coaching candidates, and I am on. This is gbmwolverine.com, and this, of course, is one of their local blogs or websites. And they got Jed Fish from Washington. Washington was okay. Of course, they got Kalen DeBeer, and I think he's okay where he's at. I think he's not going anywhere. And then you got we just talked about Kenny Dillingham. He was actually the number one guy that they wanted, and he turned him down. So where does Michigan go from here? That's they're in a real precarious situation. And like I said, I'm not sure how the transfer portal works and recruits, and now that these guys are getting NIL deals and getting paying money and those type of things, getting paid money. Do they back out? Do they have some type of clause in the NIL NCAA rules where if a coach leaves, they can jump back into the portal? I don't know how this situation works. Let me know if you guys want me to try to bring on some type of Michigan insider, college insider to maybe fully explain this, because I'm be honest, I know the sport. I know the news. I keep up with everything that's going on in college, but the NIL thing is such a wild, wild west. There's so many loopholes. It's like a card game you just made up. You just getting the rules as you go. So we don't know exactly what is what in the college ranks. And like I said, had Michigan done this 3 weeks ago, they would have had their pick of the litter when it came to the head coaches. Now everybody's just signed deals. You know, no one's going to take a buyout right now, and they haven't even received any of the signing bonus or any of that first year money to go take a job somewhere else. So that situation is going to be tough. That situation is going to be tough. I feel bad for the young men at Michigan, um, football wise. I feel bad for the young men. Feel bad for everybody in that situation. It's again, it's kids involved, all of that. Like I said, we're not going to get into all of that, but you know, that program is in shambles. This was a program that's on the rise. This is a program that has been really good for the last, I want to say probably like the last 8, 9 years. It's really been up there, starting with John Harbaugh really taking over and putting his identity on that program. And, Sharon Moore was supposed to take it from there. And now they have no coach, no hope. So I don't know what they're going to do. Are you going to be able to bring Jesse Minter back from the San Diego Chargers, where he's a defensive coordinator, with the guy that brought him in John Harbaugh, to go take that job? Or is Jesse Minter up for a head coaching position in the NFL in this upcoming season? So they're not in a good situation. They're just not in a good situation. That's just the best way I could put it. I don't know what they do. We'll keep up on the story, though. I definitely want to talk about that, though. Next up, we have to talk about the man of the hour that we got in the thumbnail, Phillip Rivers. We talked about him. He is going to make his first start against the Seattle Seahawks. Man, if they could have found a better week to start on that Seattle Seahawks defense, be out for blood. They be out for blood. Mike McDonald, Donald's defense, they play fast and they play to hit you. And my question is it ain't that Phillip Rivers can't swing the ball. You know what I mean? You guys think that Phillip Rivers still got something in his arm? I do. I definitely do. But here's the problem. Phillip Rivers has not been hit in probably like what 4 or 5 years. Has not hit the turf. Hasn't got back up. Then he's coming into a situation. Now, I don't know if the Colts are at home or not. In the insulated dome. But let's just say they up in Seattle. And they up in Seattle, and Phillip Rivers catch a blindside shot, and he hit that cold, hard grass. Now that's going to be about to get that 44, 45-year-old body back up off the turf. It's all good when you're in your backyard and slinging it around to, all 20 of your kids. That's easy. College football. I mean, high school football, which he was coaching. That's easy. You still throw it. Probably can still whip it. Probably 40 or 50 yards down the field. All that's good. But when you got to go against those guys that want to hunt you down and 300 pounds running a 4.7 in the NFL, and you ain't seen that NFL gang speed and ions, that's the part I want to see. I want to see how he responds. Taking that first sack, getting hit while he releasing the ball. All those things. Those things are going to matter. So you want to see how Phillip Rivers' body responds in this game. Like I said, one thing I will say is one thing that he does have is he has a offense where he has a pretty good offensive line and he has a running back that he can lean on in Jonathan Taylor, and he got the weapons. He got the weapons. So he's very well insulated. Also, Shane Steichen is a really good friend of his, and they had been talking for a while. They always kept in contact. So he was able to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I need you for this run. We 8-4, 8-5. We turning this team around. We just need you to hold the fort down until Daniel Jones is ready next year." Phillip Rivers obliged, make that paycheck, and hopefully, he can steady the ship a little bit. But I bring all of this up to get into this next clip that we're going to watch. So hopefully I do this right. I'm still learning this whole system here. But this clip right here is very important that I want to bring up from our man Cam Newton. And we gonna let Cam talk for a second, quick. And then we go come back and talk about it here. So give me 1 second here. So make sure I do this. Oh, I could be downloading the clips and then put them in here. Okay, I'm gonna start doing that. All right, let's do this, people. Okay, you guys see Mr. Cam Newton. I hope you guys got to hear that. I hope you heard that clip. Let me know in the comments if you heard that clip because sharing these website pages and stuff. I want to make sure you guys are hearing it so you guys can interact with it. So if you're in the chat, drop something in the chat. Let me know that you heard that Cam Newton clip. If not, we got some more things to work on. But obviously, if you did hear what was going on, Cam Newton was not happy on his show. What is Cam Newton's show called? I think it's called Fourth and One with Cam Newton. So shout out to Cam Newton. But what I'm going to say is that this isn't a victim situation, Cam. This is a situation where relationships were already formed between the head coach and the Indianapolis coach, Shane Steichen and Phillip Rivers. That's one. He knows the system. Number two, that's who he felt bringing in. He was comfortable bringing in. That's three. See, the thing about Cam Newton, and in my opinion, you know, Cam Newton has pivoted to a podcaster, a media personality at this point. And this is something that we have not seen. And being that Cam Newton is only 36 years old, he jumped into the media game so fast that it's not just as a correspondent for the ESPNs, the CBSs, or whatever the case may be. He jumped into a situation where he started to create his own lane and his own platform. With said platform, you're going to have certain guests. You're going to do whatever it is that you want to do, because it is your platform. But the only part about it, and Cam kind of said it in that clip, well, they don't want the circus around like Shador. Okay, well, let's first address this one thing. The circus around Shador is because of his dad. Shador's time in Cleveland, he's not really a rah-rah guy. It's his dad's energy. It's almost like, and it's not it's not a bad thing. It's just like LeVar Ball with his kids. LeVar Ball was the main attraction. His personality was bigger than life. And, his kids those guys are relatively quiet. So he made all the noise. Then when you look at somebody like Deion's times 100. He's a Hall of Famer. He got the gift of gab. He had all those things. I mean, Deion, for my money, is like the Ric Flair of the NFL. He can sell you them tickets. He is a ticket seller and a ticket mover. So Shador benefited from being Deion's son. So he, of course, took on some of the energy that Deion had. But for the most part, he's been in Cleveland. He's been quiet. He's been working on his craft, and he is the CEO of the team. So he's not gonna say too much. He goes show the wrist. He go do all those things, and that's cool. But for the most part, Shador is quiet. He's the CEO of the team. Why do I bring this up? Because Cam Newton brought it up, and that was part of Cam Newton's thing back in the day too. And I used to say this back in the day about Cam. Cam had all the talent in the world. You 6'5", 6'6", you 265. You were Josh Allen before Josh Allen. And you're faster than Josh Allen. But I think Cam more so wanted to be a star. I think his star overexposed being a leader and the quarterback of the team. Not saying that he wasn't. Where he had to run, the MVP season, he was untouchable, all those things. But I always said about Cam Newton is he's more so wanting to be the star of the show instead of just being the show. If you get where I'm going. What I mean by that is when you're the show, you don't have to do all of this. You just go out and do your job and you can have your personality, be your personality. But when your personality overshines the work you've done, then that's when it becomes a problem. So when you look at Cam Newton at 36 versus Phillip Rivers at 44, you guys got where I just said that, hey, um, Phillip Rivers known Steichen and all these other things. But the other part is if Phillip Rivers went into media, if he was going to go into it in a situation probably where he would just, do a couple of appearances here and there, or he do some analyst work or whatever, like a Matt Ryan or whoever is up there. Jameis, he's done media when he was out of, which, by the way, Jameis is going to be the guy when it comes to the media. When he gets that analyst job next, he's going to be the next big thing. Mark my words. That's my guy. I'm a big fan of Jameis. He's a silly dude, but if Phillip Rivers had went into his own media platforms and he chose to introduce certain interviews and stuff like that, the Colts wouldn't have called Phillip Rivers. They wouldn't have called Phillip Rivers because they're going to say he's already set in a situation where him being the main guy is more important than playing quarterback or us being able to call him back to play quarterback. I think Cam Newton's situation is he wants to be the super media driven personality. Like I'm all for you. Hey, you got to make your money. You out of the league, whatever, whatever. But I think the way Cam has kind of went about things, and he has that right to do that. I think him already having that bigger than life personality, teams gonna be like, nah, I'm good. Is it worth the weight in gold to have Cam Newton be the quarterback if you believe he's good enough or not? Because if you still felt like he was really good or he had some game about him at this point in his career, Cam Newton still would be a quarterback. We just saw Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is like 38. Cam Newton's been out the league now for about, 3 years? He's that comment. He shined bright. He shined bright fast, and he burned out fast. And I think part of it has to do because of not because he has a personality, because be who you are. I think he burned out because he wanted to be more of a media personality than a franchise QB. Now you can look at it two ways, whatever the case may be. I'm going to, say what's on my mind when it comes to things like that. When you're the quarterback, you are the CEO. And I don't think they feel like Cam Newton's CEO. That's just what it is at the end of the day. So I understand him still having that itch to play football. He's still a young guy. All the tools and attributes in the world. But to me, it doesn't look like he's really, put himself out there. Like I said, I don't think nobody else would be calling Phillip Rivers if Phillip Rivers didn't have a relationship with Shane Steichen. So I don't think that's really a big deal, Cam. I don't know if it was just, excuse me, I don't know if it was just content. Maybe it was just content. But deep in my heart of hearts, I believe that Cam Newton still wants to play football. But I think you have to audition like you really want to play football. It looks like you are comfortable in the space you're in. You got your show where you do the interviews and, you sit down with guests and all of that other stuff. I don't know. NFL teams may look at that and say, how is he going to pull away from, his media responsibilities when he looks like he's really enjoying that. That's all I'm gonna say about that situation. That's the best way I could put it. I just think Cam is, he's a media personality at this point. So I don't think you can get frustrated at the situation, man. I think you are where you are at this point. And if you really want to get back into football, you have to show that you really want to get back into football. So I thought that was very interesting. But we'll go ahead and jump into the next topic. I had to put this one in my phone because I wanted to do this the other day. But if you guys have been following the channel for a while, you know that I've talked about Kyler Murray. And I was talking about basically, hold on one second. Doug, you fresh? Let me clear my throat. So we talked about this situation on the channel. I did a video about it and everything. And Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are done. I said as much about a month or two ago that they were done. As soon as they had a chance to put Kyler Murray on ice, they did. He probably actually agreed with it. The situation just didn't work out. It didn't work out. Time for everybody to go their separate ways. Jonathan Gannon did not bring Kyler Murray in. He came from the Philadelphia Eagles, that Super Bowl team that lost to the Chiefs. And he came in, and he was the new sheriff of town. And Kyler Murray was not his pick. He just so happened to be there on that big, massive contract. And I just think it ain't working out because it came to a situation where he had to rebuild the team, da-da-da. And Kyler Murray at this point now, he's like, I haven't won here. Maybe I'm not meeting my potential, whatever the case may be, injuries, all of that. It's just been a bunch of bad luck in Arizona with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals organization. So it's time to cut bait. But let me drop you guys the news on what supposedly was going on behind the scenes. So I want to read this. They said Kyler Murray reportedly wanted influence on the Cardinals personnel and NFL draft decisions. They said the Arizona Cardinals and star quarterback Kyler Murray appeared to be headed toward divorce this offseason, and more details have emerged about their relationship deteriorating. According to ESPN's Josh Weinfuss, a source familiar with the situation said that Murray wanted his voice to be heard in personnel decisions and draft choices. But for the most part, the Cardinals dismissed his request and added certain players. Weinfuss noted that one time that the Arizona acquiesced to Murray's personal request was when the team acquired Hollywood Brown in a draft day trade in 2022, giving Murray one of his best friends and former college teammates. See, that's where you might have missed Kyler. Once you don't get it right in a new organization, they'll turn you off fast. So they also say Murray had been sidelined with a foot injury since week 6. Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon recently announced that he will not return this season while he continues his recovery. This may end his tenure in Arizona, as ESPN's Adam Schefter reported last month that a source said that a separation is imminent between Murray and the franchise that drafted him number 1 overall in 2019. Article goes on to say that he had been Pro Bowl in back-to-back seasons in 2022. He has dual threat ability, tore ACL in 2022. So we get where the interview is going. Go check it out. It's on ESPN. But listen, I said this. This was over. And this is a trend with the NFL right now. And I want everybody to kind of like pay attention to what's going on with the NFL and quarterbacks. Quarterbacks will be the most traded commodity in the NFL for about the next 5 years. because once they hit that apex of getting $260 million or $300 million contracts, where 60 or 70% of the contract is guaranteed, or however they work the numbers, the only person that has a movable contract going into next year is Jalen Hurts, because we know Howie Roseman plays a different game over there. But these quarterbacks that get these contracts and they eat up so much cap space, and you got a pie, they're eating up about 25% of the cap. And your quarterback can't take you to the next level, whether it's injuries on the team, unfortunate situations where maybe you ain't got enough wide receivers, the wide receivers hurt, or they're not playing well, or whatever the case may be. When you get that type of money, you are looked to elevate your squad. You're looked to elevate your squad. And when you don't, they're gonna try to get you out of here on the first thing smoking. That's a fact. Gotta go, gotta go. They go try to get you out of here. I said the first candidate of that was gonna be Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is just so happen to be playing well enough in the team's money for Liam Cohen and whoever the GM is. I can't remember who the GM is down there in Jacksonville. But let's just say Jacksonville, instead of being, what are they, 8-4? Let's see what Jacksonville is. And if you in the chat or whatever the case may be, don't be scared to drop a comment. I love to hear from you guys. You in there? Come say hello. Tell me my commentary sucks, or you ain't a fan of me because I'm talking about your team. I'm gonna talk about your team a lot. You ain't got to worry about it. So just get used to it. So let me see what Jacksonville's record is. Uh, so Jacksonville is 9-4. So Jacksonville is having probably the best season they ain't had in probably like no. They went to the playoffs the year that they upset Justin Herbert. So it's been a couple years, but they're 9-4. But Trevor Lawrence isn't having a like knockdown stellar season. Like he's playing okay. Let's see what Trevor Lawrence doing this year. Let's pull it up. We gonna pull it up on the screen because I need to keep learning how to work this stuff. You know what I mean? It's still new territory for me. So you guys hanging there with me. You know, you guys will see in a couple months. I'm gonna have it where it's a whole bunch of flashing lights and everything. Y'all gonna be like, turn it down, man. You doing too much. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna stop. Right now, I can just do the bare basics. Hold on, let me pull this up on the screen for you guys to see this. All right, so this is Trevor Lawrence stats this year so far. Now he's looked better the last couple games, but Trevor Lawrence he just got 18 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He's he got a QB rating of 83.3. He's not even at 60% passing. Let me tell y'all something. That is not franchise numbers. That is not franchise numbers. Trevor Lawrence is making $55 million a year, and those are his numbers. Now, there's still 4 games left. He may go on a tear, and those numbers look better. He is playing winning football. He did beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. I know that was a big move for him, but then they turned around and lost the next week to an inferior opponent because they were still on the high and beat Kansas City. But maybe Liam Cohen has him trending upwards because we saw that relationship that first couple weeks of the season. I'm like, oh, Trevor Lawrence gonna be out of here on the first thing smoking by trade deadline, or he's gonna be an off season move, just like the situation that Kyler Murray has right now. I think the difference is that they're winning. But is Trevor Lawrence worth $55 million a year? I'm going to emphatically tell you, hell no, he's not. But again, they're winning. They're all playing collectively. They're playing a good brand of football. So he's still there, and that's really the only reason why he's still there. But when you look at the Kyler Murray situation, and they can't get out of that NFC West, and then you have to look at it from the Cardinals' standpoint. They have not won with Kyler Murray at this point. You gave him a whole bunch of money, whether it's fair or not, because I don't feel like he had the greatest weapons over there either. He hasn't been great. I think he's done as much as he could in that situation. I just think the marriage didn't work, and that happens. Where it's just really nobody's fault. It just didn't work. We heard all the reports. We know he a big gamer. Maybe Call of Duty was a little more important a couple years ago. I don't know. But I think it's a situation where it's just a divorce that needed to happen. And when you can't get over that hump and you're in that NFC West, and that NFC West has turned into these teams on the rise, like the Seattle Seahawks, having a situation with Sam Darnold reviving his career with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Torrey Hortons and all those guys over there. Now you got to be able to go blow for blow with them. And they got a defense. So that team is primed for the next 3-4 years to make runs. Then you got the 49ers who are, they hurting a little bit, but they still do their thing. They still gonna get to that point as long as they got Kyle Shanahan over there and the messages are getting stale. Look at that team through all the injuries that they've been through. They still there. Then you got the Rams. Matthew Stafford looked like he just turning back the clock every year at this point. After it looked like I didn't even know he was going to make it through the season. So when you have a stacked NFC West the way you have it, and your quarterback and that team can't get much done, but you're paying them max money, yeah, it's time to blow it up. And if I could trade Kyler Murray and get a first round pick and a third round pick, or I don't know if you're gonna get the Sean Watson haul for Kyler Murray, and I don't think. Well, let me say, it may be a team that feels like if they got a Kyler Murray or whoever that quarterback is, that high paid quarterback is, to go get that guy, whoever that guy is, and they feel like they can take them to the next level, then they will spend that money. So let's just say uh, the Pittsburgh Steelers need a quarterback next year if Aaron Rodgers don't return, or Will Howard become the guy, or whoever the case may be. And they're interested in Kyler Murray, and you could get 2 first round picks to go get him. I'm pretty sure the Cardinals would oblige and give him up for that, because what they get to do, they get to go pick their guy, and they get to add help everywhere else. Because, like I said, now being attached to a quarterback, and you give them that type of money, You expect them to pick your team up and go win the next week, the next year, whatever it is. You have them, and you tell them you can have a fourth round receiver. You better make him play like a first round receiver because we gave you the money to elevate the team. That is a big deal. Once you get that type of money, that's called expectations. That's called expectations. And that's why I said with Trevor Lawrence, I used him for an example. Trevor Lawrence, if this team, even if he had 18-11 right now, and this team was 5-8 instead of 9-4, or 4-9, or was on, you know, hovering around 500, Trevor Lawrence's name would be in trade talks this offseason. They just so happen to be winning. So, that's the situation with Kyler Murray. He wanted some autonomy. They gave him a little autonomy a few years ago with Hollywood Brown. That didn't work out. So they done listening with him because he didn't come in with this organization. The new organization that's in right now didn't draft him. They're like, we can do better. We'll let you go. We'll see if we can get rid of you at trade time in the off season. Get a couple first round picks. Let's see if maybe we can move up for Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore or whoever the case may be. So Kyler Murray will be out there. It's gonna be some teams that may want to take a swing at him. He definitely has the talent. He's miniature in size. That scares me because he got to move around that pocket to get those throws off. So if you have no problem with that, then you know your quarterback might be out there. So he will get traded this offseason, according to the reports. Um, Let me know in the chat who you think Kyler Murray may land with next year. A situation I can see too, believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, I don't know how they would pull this off, but I don't know if the Atlanta Falcons are as intrigued with Michael Penix. And Michael Penix, my guy, I think he'd go anywhere else and he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine when he come back. But maybe the Cardinals feel like we could pull another guy in that may put us over the top, even though they pay Kirk Cousins a hell of a lot of money right now. When they figure out some cap gymnastics to try to get him in, so he's gonna be a hot commodity. He's gonna be a hot commodity for sure. So, uh, what else do we have on the docket here? Uh, I guess what we could look at here is too is we could look at the matchups real quick. I ain't gonna hold you guys too much longer. Like I said, this NFL Sunday. I know everybody probably getting their food together and want to sit back and relax before they get back to work Monday and stuff like that. So I ain't gonna hold you guys too much longer. Let me see here. So let's look at the NFL schedule. Let's pull it up. Let's see here. We got some good games today too. We got some good games today. Let's see. Show you guys the screen. I get a chance to actually mess around with the screen. And okay, so let me see something here. I want to bear with me. I want to try a couple things while we're in here. Let's see. always makes me small. Let me see something here. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, we just gonna do it like that because I don't know. I be trying to figure this out. I need to be able to get this the schedule being where I'm small, and that's a hard task to do. I'm a huge human being, even on the screen. So, but we'll do it like this. I'm gonna keep learning this thing. Uh, yeah, this this drives me crazy. Let me see here. Uh, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out how to keep messing around with it. But we got the Ravens and the Bengals today at 1 o'clock. Uh, what is the okay? So the Ravens 6-7, with the Bengals 4-9. Oh, I'm glad that this is actually brought up. So I guess we can talk about it a little bit here. Um, we all heard Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is not happy right now, and basically it's because they losing. In a nutshell, he's frustrated. They're not winning. I mean, Joe Burrow's health has not been great, but the defense has been something of a paper mache over there. And the Bengals record could easily be 9-4 right now. They had so many close games this year. They 4-9. Baltimore on the ropes. I mean, it, they're on the ropes right now. I don't know what's going on in Baltimore. That situation don't look like a great situation either. Uh, Lamar is not playing really good football. It's just it looked like it's a situation that's run its course. But I will say, if I had to pick a winner in this game, I think the Bengals figure out a way to win this game. I think Baltimore was devastated from last week losing to the Steelers. Um, like I said, Lamar starting to get his legs back, but I think that Bengals offense is just gonna have too much firepower this week because the Ravens defense has played better, but it's not really all that great. And when you got to deal with Jamar Chase and T Higgins and those guys over there, I just think that they just go beat them to the punch. I think they just go outscore them today. I just think the Ravens have lost his juice. Well, we're going to have some conversations about the Ravens. Me personally, going into this 2026 offseason, I have some real thoughts, but I'm going to hold them for right now about what I think is going to happen. So we'll talk about it. Next game on the schedule, we have the Raiders and the Eagles. And the Eagles are free falling. Once they fall off track, it just seems like they can never get back on track. Now, is the Raiders the perfect team to get back on track with? Yes, they are. But I think Kenny Pickett starting this game, and as bad as the Philadelphia's not on defense has looked, the offense, mainly Jalen Hurts, looking at you. This is an upset in the making. This is an upset in the making. This is a what I'm gonna call a Brock Bowers special game, where that Philly defense is gonna play so well, where Brock Bowers is gonna be the one that's getting loose a little bit, and he's gonna be the difference in this game. I think you have a 17-13 game Raiders. I think the free fall continues with the Philadelphia Eagles. And if they lose to the Raiders, this might be the first time you see a head coach firing, and a quarterback being benched all in the same week. Yes, I'm going to those extremes. I'm going to those extremes with that. So I look for an upset in this game. Eagles are not playing good football, and the game is in Philly. It's going to be a cold game. So I got an upset for that game. I do. Crazy as it sounds. We got the Cardinals, Texans. Of course, the Texans is hot right now. This defense is playing D'Amico Ryan's football. C.J. Stroud is looking much better. He's taking command of the team. Hopefully, he's continuing to grow into his role. Texans with an easy win, I think, especially at home. Chiefs Chargers at 1 o'clock. Chiefs are fighting for their lives right now. Uh, they play offense like a D2 college school with a D1 quarterback. So Pat's trying to hold them up. Of course, the defense plays well, but the Chargers is going to lean on that run. Arrowhead is probably going to be cold as hell. I give the Chiefs the favorite to try to win that game, but I'm going to go with the Chargers in this game. I think the Chiefs got all the ingredients to win the game. But I think that Chargers defense, Jesse Minter has that defense playing tough. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to continue to try to wield this team, but I think with him trying to be everything for this team, he's thrown a lot of interceptions this year. Derwin James will be waiting on him. So I don't even know if you call that an upset or not, but I'll just go with the Chargers on the road. But the Chiefs fight for their lives, though. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs won the game, but I'm going to go with the Chargers. Uh, Game of the day is Buffalo and New England. Uh, Game in New England, Drake May is the mentor Josh Allen. This game has got all the makings of a playoff game. Patriots are rolling. They went 10-2. The Bills kind of fighting for their lives, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit. No, they ain't fighting for their lives. They're 9-4. But I think it's more about positioning with them because, if they can if they could beat New England today, they close in the gap on trying to get that division a little bit. So uh, this is going to be a good game. Um, Buffalo's defense is they're a little light in the pants. They ain't got much going on. They're going to have to get some pressure. Ever since they lost Ed Oliver, they have not been the same. So they had to create a lot of different pressure. Josh Allen has to put on the Superman cape. We got to get Dalvin Cook. Uh, James Cook got to stop fumbling the football because he's costing them games fumbling the football the way he is. So this is going to be a good game, but I think New England rolling. I think New England comes out on the other side of that game. Uh, so the Bills will drop down to 9-5, and they'll slide down in that bracket seat to wherever they slide down to. So we'll see where they go. But I got New England winning that game, though. That's going to be a good game. Uh, then we got Jags, Jets. I think Jags just destroy the Jets at this point. There ain't much to talk about with that game. Commanders, Giants. I want to see more out. Is Jackson Dart going to be back? I think he's back. There ain't much to really talk about with that game. Both teams are reeling from injuries. That's a toss up. I'll give it to the Commanders. Uh, Game interested. We get Shador for game 3. He is going into Chicago, where they say the temperature is going to feel like -20 and the wind swirling and everything else. So if you're looking for Shador Sanders to repeat what he did last week, I'm here to tell you you're going to be sadly disappointed. because he's probably going to throw for no more than 80 or 90 yards in this game. It's going to be a heavy reliance on the run game in this game. So if you're looking for him to come in and be slinging it all over the field, I don't think that's going to happen. You know, if he does have a big game, and I think this is on both sides with him and Caleb Williams, it's going to be a lot of run after the catch. There'll be a lot of 5-yard passes that can turn into 70-yard runs. You know, that field is going to be slick. This is the first defensive test that Shador has to deal with. He's dealing with a Dennis Allen defense. So they're going to have a game plan on him. You know, Shador has some film out on him now. So this is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a measuring stick game for Shador Sanders. And it's not about really about how many yards he throws for or whatever the case may be. It's more about can he get his team in and out, be proficient. You know, when some hairy situations come up, how does he deal with the adversity? So that's what I'm looking at with this game. But the Browns defense is going to play well for the most part, but Ben Johnson is going to have tricks up his sleeve. And, of course, I'm going to go with the Bears in that game. The Browns just, they ain't ready for that prime time. You know, but I will say this. This isn't like Caleb Williams has played well. So that Browns defense, if they can manufacture some turnovers, we talking about a whole different game. So we'll see how they play. But I know Ben Johnson is going to scheme up ways to take Myles Garrett out of that game. So we'll see what happens. But we got the Lions and Rams at 425. We know that's going to be a barn burner. Lions is kind of fight for their life, if I'm not mistaken. Sort of. Yeah, I mean, that division is tight with Green Bay and the Bears. So they kind of fighting for their life. That game could go either way, I'll be totally honest. I don't really have a read on that game. So I'm just going to say that's just one of those toss-up type games. Um, and let's see what else we got. A couple more, and we about to get up out of here. Uh, we got Dolphins Steelers Monday night. Dolphins playing good football. They actually have turned into a running team, but they're more of a finesse running team with Arcane, and the Steelers are playing Steeler football, whatever that is at this point. One day it's good, one week it's pretty good, the next week it sucks. So we don't know what team gonna show up. Uh, Packers Broncos game gonna be a good one today. Uh, I love what the Broncos doing. This is gonna be a great game, but I'll take the Broncos in that game. You got the 49ers Titans. Titans is they're a walking funeral every Sunday at this point right now. Feel bad for Cam Ward down there, but they'll be all right. But 49ers will take that game. Um, Colts Seahawks. We get to see young Phillip Rivers at 425 against the Seahawks. And I think the Seahawks will annihilate Phillip Rivers in this first game. I think he's going to get annihilated. So, you know, if the pocket holds up, you know, then you got to just think about he going to have some rust no matter what. So if that run game ain't going and they got to lean on him, it's going to be a long day. And it's in Seattle. So, yeah, I'm going with Seattle. So, you know, that's what I got, guys. I just wanted to jump on here. Uh, 12, 13, like I said, everybody, you know, trying to probably get their food together and try to relax for 1 o'clock and get ready and start watching pregame shows and stuff like that. So, you know, we will convene. Want to go for Monday. Want to go for Monday before Monday Night Football. Of course, that's that 7 o'clock time. Maybe we'll go for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half or something like that. And yeah, I appreciate everybody that was in the building. Uh, thank you guys. Like I said, I really enjoy doing this, trying to make this a regular everyday thing. So we want to just make sure, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, it's going to get better. We're still figuring out a lot of these nuances on the show, but it's gonna get better. We're gonna have fun with it. Make sure you guys are, leaving whatever in the chat. I'll be answering questions. We may even take phone calls. We'll have guests. We have a whole lot coming up with this show. There's some other good things coming up. So I just want to leave it there. I appreciate everybody. Really do. I really do appreciate you guys. Uh, you guys are what make this thing go. You are a part of the show. So, you know, uh, leave it in the comments. If you have any questions about the show, questions you want me to answer on the next show, I'm more than willing to do that too. So we gonna do this again tomorrow, probably around 7 o'clock. Everybody have a good day. Wherever you at, if you up north, it's cold as hell. It's snowing everywhere. If you're down south, it ain't that much better to be honest. It's kind of cold everywhere. So, just kick back, relax. Get you a nice plate or something and enjoy football. So I will see you guys Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern. And until the next show, peace.